Hello, I'm Grant, and today we're going to be talking about chicken pox, which is more properly known as varicella. Chicken pox is a viral infection. It's caused by the varicella zoster virus. This disease is characterized by its signature rash of small, fluid-filled bumps all over the skin. Chickenpox is a very contagious disease, but it's also fortunately quite mild. And in recent years, it's become very, very rare because of the creation of the attenuated virus varicella vaccine. Despite that fact, a good number of cases actually do still pop up from year to year. I myself am a chickenpox survivor. I understand that it would be a good visual aid if I had a picture of myself with chickenpox. Unfortunately though, there are no such pictures. However, using this childhood picture of myself and some technology, I was able to come up with a very, very good representation of what I would have looked like with the disease. The name chickenpox actually came into being because the rash that the disease gives you closely resembles the marks on the skin that a person who has been savaged by a chicken would have. Chickenpox is very, very mild in comparison to its more dangerous cousin smallpox. I guess that, like the bird from which it derives its name, it's considered to be relatively unthreatening. But even so, chickenpox can become deadly. From 1990 to 1994, over 100 deaths were reported from chickenpox. Fortunately though, that number has decreased greatly since the introduction of the varicella vaccine. 10 years later, a mere 15 deaths were reported annually as a result of chickenpox. Since 2006, a second dose of the varicella vaccine has been added to the vaccination roster. This double shot in the varicella vaccine has resulted in chickenpox becoming even more rare. Furthermore, most mothers, through passively transmitted antibodies, will pass on their immunity to their child for the first few months of their life. Now let's get into the more detailed information. Chickenpox is caused by the varicella zoster virus. This virus is a linear duplex DNA molecule. Now this virus multiplies within the lungs, and from there it goes on to cause all kinds of different signs and symptoms. After the immune system has beaten it down, it goes dormant within the nervous system. From there, it can reactivate years later, causing further complications including shingles. Shingles is more severe than chickenpox, but it's also very, very difficult to transmit. Still, in extreme cases, it can cause death, especially in immunocompromised individuals. Chickenpox tends to show signs and symptoms 10 to 21 days after exposure to the disease. The most common sign is the signature rash. However, it can also cause fever, loss of appetite, headache, and a general malaise around 2 days before the actual rash takes hold. During the 2 days before the rash appears, and then any period while the rash is present before it sort of crusts over, chickenpox is transmittable to other people. One mode of transmission for chickenpox is through direct contact with either the skin or the mucous membranes. This is easily one of the most surefire ways of contracting the disease. Direct contact is not the only mode of transmission for chickenpox. It can also be spread through respiratory droplets by anyone in the near vicinity. Chickenpox can also be spread in vector form by articles of clothing or bedding that is used by someone suffering from the disease. If someone else were to use those, then they too could contract the disease. Humans are the only reservoir for chickenpox. In the early 1990s, before the varicella vaccine was available, nearly 4 million cases of chickenpox were reported annually in the United States. But as recently as 2014, 91% of children in the United States have been vaccinated against the varicella virus. This is well over the threshold for herd immunity, and the NIH actually estimates that 3.5 million cases of chickenpox are prevented every year by the vaccine, and that also 100 deaths per year are prevented in the United States. Still, chickenpox seems to evade outright eradication. Many parents had it as children, and they see it as sort of a rite of passage for their own child to have it. Furthermore, the anti-vaccine movement, which came into full force right around the time that the chickenpox vaccine was invented, have done a lot to drive people away from vaccination in general. As a result, preparedness for chickenpox is less than ideal, but still adequate. Huge strides have been taken towards eradicating chickenpox. And supposing that there is better education on the dangers that chickenpox has later on in your life, perhaps we could see outright eradication of the disease in the near future.
Like sitting here and like talking to you about something, I'm like, you know, oh look at me like making like I'm mansplaining something to you at this point, right? And then I'm like, are you cool? Yeah. Here. I can't do it. Are you cool? Yeah. Here. Are you cool?
Wait, I did it again.
I just coughed so much in my face. You cool, bro? Are you cool? Yeah. Here.
I can't do it.
Think about like your dog dying. Like you think about yourself killing your dog.
No, then I'll just. Alright. Were you filming?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Film.
Alright. I'm filming.
Are you cool?
We should have that in the outtakes. Did you film that?
Yeah.